Hello, welcome to or back to the Rock Shop. Will here. I'll be using this video to start a new series of videos in which I clean and inspect a 5-gallon container of agates, petrified wood, and jasper, and more that I found at the Yellowstone River. Generally, when I find something at the river, I don't take too much time to clean it or inspect it. I generally just put it into the bags at my side and then into my buckets and then bring it back here to the Rock Shop. These videos can be thought of as follow-up videos to my rock collection videos. I'll show you the first candidates on the chopping block. When I first find rocks at the river, I will place them into these bags on this belt. And then when the bags fill up, I will take the rocks back to, say, buckets like these. Each bucket is 4 gallons. And I've made an addition to these handles. This is 3/4 inch, Schedule 80, gray PVC, and it's durable. It's about right for your hand. And how full these buckets get just depends on where I go, what time of the year it is, how much time I spend down there. And sometimes I'll fill both these buckets up and then have to haul them out. Or this is, say, a standard amount found here in the location that I went to for the time of the year that I went there, for the amount of time that I spent there. After I find my materials at the river or somewhere around there, I'll bring them back into the rock shop and place them into containers such as these, or buckets like I just showed you, or 5-gallon round buckets. And I have probably around 120 to 130 of these that need to be cleaned and inspected and then placed into a respective location here in the rock shop. Let's see what these have to offer. All right, here's the first 5-gallon bucket that has been cleaned. Pretty much mounted the bucket, and there's a lot more rock in there than I thought there would be. So I'm going to split this up into 2 videos. So each bucket will produce 2 videos, each showing about 2.5 gallons. All right, here's a closer look at the bucket, just for the heck of it. Kind of give you an idea on, let's say, the mix of what you can find on the Yellowstone. Nice blue one on top too. All right, here is 2.5 gallons or about 9.5 liters of material. Blend of agate, petrified wood, and some jaspers. Take a closer look at these. All right, you should never underestimate the smaller agates on the Yellowstone. Sometimes they are pretty amazing banded and waterline agates. Or just amazing in general. This one you can't really tell. The polish, it will be clearer. It's probably a piece of a banded agate that's broken. Probably an opaque waterline. It's got some banding. It's like greenish host stone. This could be pretty cool looking with the polish. Or the right cuts would be improved. It's got a pretty rough exterior. A lot of host stone impressions. All right, here's a bigger one. A little banding in there. A little bluish. A lot of host stone impressions here. A little more banding, a few dendrites. Pretty clear all in all. A little blue to it. Getting a little bigger. Looks like some waterline. Maybe some banding in there. Might show up if it's polished. A little bit on the orange. A little opaque. Nice piece of petrified wood, pretty grainy, kind of dark, big thick grains. A piece of banded sandstone. I like the way it looked, so it came home with me. I think this is going to go into a large terrarium that I'll be building here pretty soon. A more globular nodule. Host stone impression with a stone that's come along for the ride. They're pretty good. This will probably be pretty clear once it is polished. Probably be some banding, some light dendrites. All in all, pretty clear agate though. Pretty clear, pretty nondescript. Some dendrites. Maybe a little banding with a polish. Some of these smaller ones might be worth a cut, just to get a nice face for the banding, if that's how it turns out. Piece of a larger nodule. Many of these smaller pieces are broken off of larger pieces, but not all the time. Some light banding. Some dendrites in the fissures on the surface. Looks pretty clear. Some banding rolling through it, it looks like. Should look pretty nice with the polish. Probably lose the dendritic fissures on the surface though. Some nice grain. Classic piece of Yellowstone River petrified wood. Pretty common size too. Very fine banding, or fine grain. Probably some banding, light dendrites. Needs a polishing. Pretty dark piece of wood. Probably take a nice polish. Should probably bring that grain out pretty good. More dendrites. Maybe some banding, if polished or cut. Definitely some moss in it. Some hitchhikers. Yeah, they'll come out pretty easy. Pretty clear. A little bit of dendrites. All of these agates will have some dendrites within them. Under magnification, you can see the smaller, finer ones. Sometimes bigger ones too. A smaller nodule. Maybe some light banding. Looks like some quartz. Call these almost prairie agates. They're more common as you get into the lower Yellowstone. Far less common in the upper Yellowstone, but you'll still find them. Pretty clear, a little bluish. Few dendrites on the surface. Good polisher. Small waterline. Pretty cool with the polish. Pretty clear. In need of a polish. Small, nondescript piece of petrified wood. I like these. Right, a piece of jasper, odds are. A fair amount of chalcedony in it. Clear chalcedony bands. This definitely would be improved with the polish. Somewhat bigger agate nodule. Still some host stone there. A few dendrites. Probably some banding. If polished, might be a nice looking agate. Classic smaller agate. Very common in the lower Yellowstone. Less common in the upper Yellowstone. Perfect for polishing. Little opaque, but some dendrites would look nice with the polish. Pretty clear. Might be in need of a cut. If it is banded, after it's polished, it'll be clear. All right, a bigger nodule. A lot of host stone impressions. Kind of angular. Could be a nice banded agate. Could probably use a cut across this face. A little more opaque, pretty rough. Definitely needs a polish to see what's going on inside. Maybe a cut or two. Maybe not. Nice piece of petrified wood. Smaller, but probably take a real nice polish. Maybe some banding in there, very faint. Very small, very clear, very perfect for polishing. Same with a little dendritic action going on. Be a nice polisher. A little brown on one side. A little banding. This be very nice polished. All right, here's a blue one. I see some banding there. That should be pretty nice polished. It's a pretty dark blue hue for the Yellowstone, but they're definitely there. Tiny clear polisher. And another. And the same, a little bigger. Stone material. Stone impressions. And maybe some decent banding with the polish. All right, a bigger nodule. Pretty rough. Maybe a little opaque. Maybe just a good deep polish might be required. Some stone impressions. These stand out like a sore thumb even when silted. A kind of wider surface material. A wore down prairie agate, probably. But a little bigger. Might look pretty cool with a good polish on it. Right, a nicer, darker piece of petrified wood. Maybe polished, maybe not. Here's a pretty clear nodule. Piece of a bigger one, probably. Light brown dendritic. Features, pretty clear though. So probably look really nice with the polish. It'd be very translucent. Here's something a little less clear, a little more whitish in color. Sometimes these can be really amazing banded agates. Depending. All right. A little rougher surface, a lot of stone impressions. Polishing would be helpful. What it can do though, I don't know. One moment to find out. A little opaque, bluish. Light brown dendritic features. Probably pretty nice with the polish. Very small and translucent. Be a good polisher. Bigger. Definitely more opaque. Definitely a prairie agate. Sometimes very nice banded agate. Sometimes they're not so nice. Put a polish on this and go from there. Maybe cut it. See what happens. Okay, here's a clearer banded chunk of something bigger. Look really cool with the polish. All right, a piece of a water line, it looks like. A little opaque. Lines aren't super defined. Probably look pretty cool with a polish though. ghostly looking water lines, maybe. Right, very clear, still has the white crust on it. Hasn't been washed in the river too much. Once they wash in the river for a certain amount of time, they'll definitely lose this. Definitely needs a polish. And these small ones can be really nice banded agates, actually, just depending on the piece. I'll be cutting into a lot of these smaller ones just to see if they are. Maybe a quartz center. Maybe some banding. A lot of house stone impressions. Right, a darker piece of petrified wood. Perfect for a future terrarium. No polishing. Left in the natural state. All right, some more dendrites on this one for sure. Little opaque. Still pretty clear though. A light polishing might be best for something like this. A deep polish would probably polish off the dendrites. Kind of rough though. Pretty opaque. Looks like a water line. Maybe some banding. Maybe not though. Definitely needs a polish. Bring out its inner beauty. Clear a small one. Light brown dedic features. You could polish her. Like some banding. Pretty cool with the polish. A lot of house stone features. A little opaque. Pretty clear. This needs a good polish. Might be some banding in there, maybe. Be pretty faint. Small, clear. Another polisher. Could be pretty nice banded agate, small one. Polish will bring out its bands. Be pretty cool. Almost like a jasper agate. Or just a piece of chalcedony from the lower Yellowstone. Put a polish on it, see what happens. Right, here's a banded agate. This would be much improved with the polish. Still some host stone remaining. The polish, maybe a cut here across this face. Could be a nice banded agate, maybe. Polish first. A little bigger piece of petrified wood. Pretty much a classic kind of standard piece or variety you would find on the Yellowstone. Like going to fish tank. Here's what I would consider to be a nicer piece. More agatized, jasperized, a little translucent. It's a nice piece of petrified wood. Another kind of classic piece or variety from the Yellowstone. Darker, thick grained, look good in a terrarium or fish tank. Alright, a slightly bigger nodule. Looks a little bluish. Pretty rough exterior. Some of the host stone material remaining. A lot of smaller host stone impressions. Could look pretty cool with a polish. Right, kind of classic, smaller, clear piece from the Yellowstone. Oftentimes they'll have fine banding. It's very translucent. Looks pretty good. Be a nice clear polisher. So will this. This dendritic effect in there. A little bit on the orange side. Kind of opaque. Polish will help, but can only do so much. Very small, very clear. The same. Some of these will be very clear with the polish. Very translucent. Almost like a piece of glass. Pretty rough. Some banding. Require a cut to bring it out though. Polishing may not help. A lot of host stone impressions. Very small, very clear. More of the same. Save. Some green host stone. Fair amount of host stone impression. A little opaque. Sometimes banded though. Maybe a little banding in that one. Yeah. Kind of a standard smaller piece of petrified wood from the Yellowstone. Even smaller piece. I like these two. A little darker. More dendritic. Maybe some banding in there. Good polish. Might bring it out. Right, here's one with a lot of host stone. Host stone floating in a sea of chalcedony. These can look pretty cool with the polish. Some of the white crust still there as well. Small piece of glass. We'll polish up to look like glass. Needs a polish. Nice small polisher. Teeny piece of wood. Pick these up whenever I find them. A little bit on the orange side. See some banding there that's very faint. Right, here's one with some banding again. A little rough. Polish would help. Could be a pretty cool one. A dark piece of petrified wood. Look in a terrarium. Another small piece of petrified wood. Little agatized, not much. Look in a fish tank or terrarium. That would look good with the polish. Another dark, smaller piece. Veins of chalcedony. These can look pretty nice cut. Right, here's a bigger nodule. Pretty barked up, pretty rough on the surface. Looks pretty clear inside though. Some dendritic features on the surface and the fractures. Probably not much inside. Give it a polish. See what the polish shows. Okay, here's a cool piece of petrified wood. That will look pretty cool with a polish. Wood, chalcedony. Pretty neat piece. All right, a lot of host stone in this one. A lot of the white host material in there as well. Needs a polish. Some faint banding. Kind of rough. Much improved with polish. Host stone. Chalcedony. Little banding. Darker piece. It's nice grains though. Faint banding. Like some dendritic aspects to it. Needs a polish. Right, a little darker, browner. This can look pretty cool. Sometimes the banded features are brown, surrounded by a clear outer layer. Looks pretty nice sometimes. little more opaque, darker. I see banding and dendrites faintly. Still some house stone stuff. It's a clear one. Dendritic features. Maybe some banding. Destined for the polisher. Small, clear polisher. Sometimes these are really nicely banded, even being this small. We'll see. Very opaque, very rough. Polish might be helpful, might not. Pretty rough. Very rough piece of petrified wood. Pretty opaque. Got a pocket. So everything is washed out. Might be some banding in this if you cut in the right way. Pretty rough though. Pretty angular. Good polish would help tell you what to do with this one. I think there could be some banding in there. Light brown dendritic features on the surface. Probably look pretty good with the polish though. And here's another nice piece of jasper. A lot of veins of chalcedony running through it. This would be very nice with the polish. Very nice. And saving about the best for last. This is the 9.5 pounder. This is the biggest agate that I found in the spring of 2026. Floods are almost here, and the rock banks are about to be renewed by the spring floods. So this would be pretty nice with a cut, I would bet. Across the face here, you'd see banding patterns around the quartz center. This would be a classic example of a nice big piece of Montana agate that would be much improved. One or more faceted cuts across the front of this. Probably be the best way to display something like this. Pretty rough host stone impressions. The center of this is primarily going to be quartz overwhelmingly, with just edges of agate. There's some agate in the center too. It's a big agate with a quartz filling. And this will fit in the top 100 of my biggest agates, but I haven't shot a video for this one as of yet. I will add it after I've completed these first 50 videos. Thank you for joining me here at the Rock Shop. I hope you enjoyed the video. More is on the way. Have a great night.